I would like to show you now another beautiful game by Gukesh. It was played just 2 years ago in 2022. Gukesh in that time was already over 2700, so clearly an amazing young person, a super amazing and incredible chess player. Notice I don't like to use the word talent because that would be to diminish Gukesh incredible hard work and achievements, because imagine how hard was for this guy to continue to study all these years. Also, if he loved chess, I'm sure he loved chess. I think you will love this game. It was played against Jones Gawain, one of the top GM in United Kingdom, right? Which is 26-23 as a rating. It was played in September 2022. Gukesh was white and Gawain black. And this is another thing I like of modern champions. They are quite flexible in their choice of openings. They continue to change them because I think from Fischer's time they have many more tournament games to play all year round, and they need to avoid their opponent's preparation. So d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, d5, knight f3, bishop g7, and e3. This is the Grunfeld opening, okay? The Grunfeld defense. Black continue with castle. C takes d5, knight takes d5, bishop c4, and knight takes c3. Of course, instead of this move, this is another possibility that is generally played, okay? So, knight takes c3. B takes c3, and of course black immediately attack the enemy center, plus the fact that if you want to develop the knight here, at least you are not blocking this, right? You must also remember that once you take on c3, you need to attack the center, because this is the goal of this, right? Of this bishop that is attacking there, and so you need to fight always for the center. This is part of the hyper-modern ideas in chess that probably were developed from the time of Nimzowitsch. And of course, another famous player with black that played the Grunfeld, also if not all his life, because generally was using the King's Indian, was Fischer. And there is a famous game by Fischer in the Grunfeld, if I remember well, against Barn. So try to look it out eventually, because that was a kind of interesting game. Okay. White castle, queen c7, queen e2, and knight c6, to which it follows bishop a3. So white has kind of finished the development. Black is slightly behind. He needs to develop this. Where does he want to develop it? In this case, we will see that he plays b6, which means that very probably he wants to develop on this diagonal, okay? So there were other possibilities at this point. Obviously, a possibility was Queen A5. Another possibility was probably C takes D4. I urge you to probably get chess base. I think in chess base you have a annotated game, because this is the greatness of chess base, but you find a lot of annotated games in their mega base. For a video, generally it becomes kind of very long to comment all the lines. Also, if of course the players did probably knew some of them, thought some of them, calculated some of them, and so on and so forth. Okay, so after b6 it's again white turn to play. And what would you do? You need obviously to activate your rooks, right? Where would you activate the white rooks? In which file? I think this is an interesting move, rook ac1, because as you can see, there is a central tension of black that want to take there. But if it takes and you take back, you find yourself already on the right file to create a great pressure or an X-ray attack. So that rook ac1, it's an interesting move. Bishop b7, like I told you, once you play b6, the idea was to develop the bishop there for attacking in this direction. And of course, there is the occupation of the center. Knight a5, bishop d3. As you can see, the file is opening. And now there is something that is dubious but interesting. Black played bishop h6 to take away that rook from that c file. That was kind of interesting in my opinion. Okay, probably maybe not correct, because the point is there is a reason why you had the fianchetto and the bishop here, but it probably answer what Gawain found as a problem to solve, the rook there. And in fact, Gukesh plays rook b1, to which black continue with rook a c8, but at this point, because the bishop is not on g7 anymore, white can do an incredible move, which is d5, which would have opened the diagonal if the bishop was there, but it is not. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. e6, challenging obviously the central formation by white. And here there is a move that clearly cement white's strong center, and this is a pass pawn, so this is not a joke. This it's amazing, and the move obviously is a c4. Now the pass pawn is there and is like a thorn in the enemy territory, right? Okay, and what is the next problem of this formation? The fact that black has developed the bishop on this diagonal, but now it's just like out of the game, right? Because it's just like a pawn with no squares. So that's why this was a great idea, d5 and c4. Let's see what happened now. So he played rook c e8, queen c2. As you can see, always grandmaster level player, they remove from a possible threat a piece. In this case, he played this. The attack was on the queen is immediately removed. So what does this mean? This is what we call for prophylaxis. Okay, you need, before starting your attack, to take away all the possibilities of counterplay from your enemy. And of course, what is now that black must do? Black must fight against that center because it's so powerful, and he tries to do so with f5. I don't know if it's the correct way. Obviously, today without a computer we cannot actually use our brains, so okay. How does Gukesh continue? Once more, also when you finish the opening, you still need to activate your pieces, and the most powerful pieces are generally the rooks. That's why we see beginners that they open with h4 and then they try rook h3, because they feel that the rook is very powerful and they think that if they are able to bring it out, they will win. In this case, we know that in chess that's not the way to go, and you need still to bring out the rooks, but you do it at a kind of different pace. In this case we are at move 19, and at move 19 that rook is activated on the e5. Okay, f takes e4, and yes, it's damaging white center, but as you can see, it creates some open lines that probably Gukesh will use to win the game. Bishop takes e4, e takes d5, c takes d5, and here it's amazing. Now black plays bishop c8, but again, now we have an isolated queen pawn, which is a theme you will see in other videos, because I have some beautiful videos on pawn structures, and the advantage is that white has this kind of IQP, isolated queen pawn, which is already advanced. Okay. Now, if you have to evaluate this position, what would you say? The things are, a knight on the rim is dim, so this seems misplaced. So this is a problem that black needs to solve. He needs to bring it back. But after this f5, what happens is that you can feel it here. There is emptiness, the void, and the white pieces are kind of aiming at this king. Okay, so this king is exposed. Notice the counterpart is not exposed at all. Okay, so that's a difference in evaluation. So what would you say? You would say that white is better. Why? Because watch also, this bishop is not in the right square. So we have two pieces of the enemy army that are kind of misplaced, and we have a weakness in his king. While on the other side, can you really say that there are weaknesses that you can find? I can't. And then of course there is the problem of the advanced pawn that can become quite a problem, partly because it controls two squares that are important for the enemy, and partly because it's just 3 squares from promotion. So this will need to be dealt with. Okay, I am sorry if I wasted your time with all this thing. What would you do right now? Okay, you are white. What is the move that you would play? Once more, I urge you to have one of these. 3 minutes, you pause the video and you think for 3 minutes, and after 3 minutes you say, okay, I would play this, and you justify with the variations that you have found. Okay, let's see. So I hope you pause the video. Gukesh played d6, an extremely beautiful move. The idea of this move is to open all the lines, and this is called clearance sacrifice. After all, it's a pawn. Queen takes d6, rook b d1. As you can see, white now has the open lines, queen c7, and bishop d5. Boom! As you can see, we have two bishops that are ready to aim at this, because f5 was the weakness. But after all, Gawain Jones had to attack that strong enemy center. Okay, so after bishop d5, check, king h8, bishop b2, bishop g7, and what would you play right now if you were white? Let me know, pause the video, like always, use your 3 minutes and see what you can do. Notice, I will give you a hint eventually if you don't see it. It's an attack on a square that Tal, the magician from Riga, always loved to attack. So the next move is knight g5, because the attack is on this square. Okay? And now there is bishop f5. Amazing move. However, if also black would have played rook takes e1, that wouldn't solve this problem, because after rook takes e1, queen f4 attacking this, there would be rook e7, and the game is nearly over. Okay, so here he played bishop f5, but once more, and maybe take more than 3 minutes, you need to think, pause the video, and find what is Gukesh next amazing move. And this is why, like for Fischer, this was an immortal game. Also, this one is really a beautiful game that everyone that is a chess player should watch and enjoy, because Gukesh clearly created a beautiful masterpiece, like a painting masterpiece. This is the same. Imagine how beautiful is this move. Queen c3, boom, incredible. And this happens all the time also to me. Sometimes I have when I play against computer, the computer totally kills me with this kind of things. What do you do now? It's terrible, right? Because bishop takes c3, bishop takes c3, and you need to use the queen to g7, right? But then there is knight f7, check. Here you need to calculate to be able to visualize what's going on. And I urge you, that's why I urge you to pause the video and see the lines here, because if you don't see it, you are not understanding why this game was such a great thing. Okay, so let's try to see. Okay, bishop takes e3, bishop takes e3, check. Okay, and this is obvious. The king cannot go here, so you need to stop it some way. Obviously, you don't want to stop it like this, right? You have to use your queen. But obviously the other guy doesn't take immediately, because if he takes immediately, the attack is over. You want to keep the tension, and so you attack with this. Why with this? Because if you play this, there is the problem of this move. Okay, and after this, checkmate. So you cannot take that knight at the moment, right? So what do? You play king g8. But after king g8, obviously there is a discovery check with knight d6. And after king h8, bishop takes g7, king takes g7, and knight takes e8. And the game is over, because as you can see, white has a rook advantage. I think it's more than enough to win. So that's what Gukesh surely visualize as a minimum. It's 4 or 5 moves, but in this case is something that you must be able to visualize. Obviously there were probably some other possibilities, like using this to block, but again it doesn't work, as you can see. Or I hope that you pause the video and try to find all the lines. Thank you for watching this part, and now let's return back to the game. Okay, so I think that I show you the right thing when I show you the bishop takes c3. Now let's see what happened in the actual game. Black played rook takes e1, and after rook takes e1, obviously black tried to create an escape route. Once more, the bishop takes e3, bishop takes e3. If you takes, then you have queen g7, and then you have the rook here. Try to visualize, because in a game you cannot move the pieces, right? So let's see it again. Bishop takes e3, bishop takes e3, check. Remember, you cannot really go on g8, so you have to block with queen g7. But then there is rook e7. And you say, wow, who cares? I take here. Yeah, you take here, and rook takes h7, checkmate. Why? Because the bishop on d5 took away the square g8. So you need to learn to visualize at least 2-3 moves ahead in your games, okay? That's kind of very, very important. So in the game, Gawain Jones played h6, and of course white played this amazing move, queen takes g7, and after queen takes g7 we still have the same problem, right, with this. This was really a beautiful game. As you can see, the activity of the pieces, white pieces, when he had the rook on e1, the other rook on c1, and then he went on b1. In any case, all his pieces were already working, while black pieces were not active enough. Okay, so here, of course, he cannot take this, right? So if you take this, like I told you before, there is here a checkmate. Okay, and if you take this, bishop takes g7, what do you do? If you go here, bishop takes h8, f8, and it's over. So again, a very, very beautiful game, and a game that you should try to memorize, because it's something that will stay with you practically. So when you will say, oh, I want to remember activity of the pieces, well, this is the example you would use to teach that, if you like to teach chess to your friends, children, and so on. And of course, a beautiful game by this young world champion that plays real amazing and attacking chess. Thank you for watching.